Well, all right, we are back. And everybody starts to trickle back in. Sorry about that. I don't know what happened. The computer just freaked out, and I think may have had something to do with my Xbox controller cutting off on its own. So that was a lot of fun. Completely, computer just fell apart after that. But it happened. That's part of it. All right, as I try to get myself back acclimated to what's going on, Jonah Colbert's still in the lead. Garrett Kinder second, Jesse Necula third, Cameron Combs right back up into fourth place. Looks like we have gone back green as everything gets back up and running on my live timing. Watch us. See who out of these top four can come out with a win tonight. Top three are in the playoffs. Cameron Combs not a playoff driver, but he still wants to win a race. You definitely don't show up just to hang out and finish fourth. You definitely come here to win. So Cameron gonna be fighting to get a win. That's what he deserves. If you're in the race, you deserve to be able to race. These top four have kind of put a gap here on Steve Loving, who's about 2 seconds back from that little group. Draft is important here in these cars, so if you can stay in a group, draft will be important. Just that extra speed down the straightaways will make a big difference. So these guys kind of forming a pack here. Eventually as tires start to wear out, they will separate, but tires are still good. You're able to keep up with the driver in front of you down those straightaways. You get a big draft. So that's why you kind of see these guys separate a little bit. Steve Loving, Daniel Cunningham have a little two-car draft of their own. And then you go back to Steve McDonald in sixth. And right behind him is Eric Burkhalter and Jonathan Cofield and Chuck Pegleg Phelps. I'm a little nervous to say anything about Chuck, but he's carrying him and Eric carrying the Po-Man flag now. So got to they're carrying the torch. Eric having a good run though, starting 12th up to 8th, taking advantage of guys having issues. Definitely not laying down the fastest lap, but he's made more attrition, and so far he's winning in that department. Let's go back up front though. Still a 4-car battle as Jonah kind of stepped away the first 2 runs, but this time Garrett Kinder not letting him get away. You see Cameron Combs getting to the outside of Jesse Necula. Necula slips a little bit off the turn. You just see how big a difference that makes. You make a mistake in a group like this, you're going to be in trouble. See the effects of the draft as they get down to the end of the straightaways. Both Garrett and Jonah get loose off of turn 3. Garrett Kinder carrying the ratchet speed shot. Kinder Farm and Ranch, number 13, purple and neon green. Take a look at the track map to see the separation. So the top 4 there going into turn 1, you see Steve Loving, Daniel Cunningham have their own little group. So it's just kind of little groups of cars kind of separated as, you know, it really all starts whenever you feel like the draft is so important. It starts with if guys are willing to work together and not racing each other all the time, because what happens in these type of cars, it's not draft like Talladega where you can get right up to somebody. The turns, having to get off the gas and the turns and stuff really makes it more of just straightaway speed. So as long as you're able to keep up in the corners, you can stay in sort of a draft. But as you get somebody who's willing to go out there and try to race everybody, take every run they get, that causes a lot of issues as far as staying with the draft. So it takes some guys working together. Sometimes you just elect to, hey, let's pull away from the field and run as a draft and kind of pull away from guys. That way we can settle it amongst ourselves. A lot easier to settle it between 2 or 3 guys than it would be 7 or 8. We got guys coming down pit road. Steve Loving, Daniel Cunningham coming down to take their last stop. Should be they're inside of 30 laps, which should be plenty to make it to the end. So they're going to short pit this and try to make up some ground on that front pack with fresh tires. I don't have the pitting. I don't know what the last time they pitted, but doesn't look like it's going to matter because Jonah Colbert, Garrett Kinder coming down pit road, and they will get their 4 tires and fuel. And should be good to make it to the end. But side by side for the lead, though, is Jesse Nicola, Cameron Combs are going to battle it out here on track. Let's see who decides to stay out a little bit longer. We've had 7 or 8 cautions, so it's probably not a bad bet to assume there's going to be a caution at some point. But the only problem with that, though, is a lot of tracks you may go a lap down by pitting. Here at Pocono, you can go down pit road, get 4 tires, fill up a fuel, come out, and still be on the lead lap. So it's not a huge deal. I don't know what in the world just happened there, but Jesse Nicola lost a whole lot of time. And Jesse Nicola coming down pit road. In the simstandings.com 84 Chevrolet. Chuck Pegleg, Steve McDonald, Eric Burkhalter coming down pit road too. So everybody coming down pit road except for Cameron Combs and Greg Froelich to make their final pit stop if we go green to the end and see where they all line up. Talking about simstandings.com, just want to highlight here, SimStandings, it's what we use. This is a live feed of iRacing standings. So after the race, I can click on this. It loads a server that shows the live timing or live points. Normally, you wouldn't be able to get that. So pretty cool little deal. So check that out. While I'm talking, Cameron Combs locks him up coming down pit road, but we'll see if he gets a speeding penalty. Is he able to get on pit road with no issue? So he's going to give up the lead. Yeah, I tell you what, Greg Froelich in second place. Going to assume the lead, but would imagine need to come in pit road at some point. Aaron Adcock going to be running second now. Those guys can probably go a little bit longer as they have been on pit road pretty much every caution trying to fix damage. So they can go a little bit longer, hope for a caution, find themselves in a better spot. But Jonah is going to reassume the lead as, oh my goodness, something happened to Garrett Kinder on that pit stop. Don't know if he had speeding or what happened. Let's go back. Maybe we can see what happened to him as we watch him come down pit road, see what in the world happened, because he is currently running in 13th place. And that looks like what it was. He has to come back down pit road and serve a penalty. We saw him and Jonah pit together, and so he comes back out on track and has to serve a penalty. I think it's a stop and go. We'll see here as we watch this replay. This is not the Kinder Farm and Ranch rewind that Garrett Kinder wants to see. Well, to be honest, I don't exactly know. Go back a little bit further. Let's try to see. I mean, he does come down pit road unless he somehow forgot to put fuel in his car or what. But I really don't know. If we get another caution, I'll definitely pull him in here and ask him. But yeah, he comes down pit road and he's on pit road for a good 16 seconds or so. So I'm not really sure if what the penalty was or what exactly happened. But Garrett Kinder on the track in 13th place. Actually a lap down to Greg Kronick here, who has still yet to pit. Once all this is said and done, Jonah will be the leader. But right now, Greg Kronick and Aaron Adcock hold the top two spots. Jonah is catching them quick, though. Aaron Adcock, as Greg Kronick does come down pit road now. Greg, last lap ran a 57.2. Jonah running a 54.6. So it was just a matter of time. Jonah is smoking them. So Kronick comes down pit road, going to take his 4 tires and fuel and make it to the end. 24 laps to go. Turn it over to Aaron Adcock. Jonah some 6.5 seconds now back from Aaron, and we'll pull up the lap time differences. You can just see on the screen how those new tires are making such a huge difference versus whatever damage Aaron has and the older tires. So almost 2 seconds a lap. And that means he'll catch up pretty dang quick. But with whatever happened to Garrett, which, like I said, we'll try to get a read on that and figure out what happened. I might jump down and try to see if we can figure out what happened to them. But now Jonah has a 6.3 second lead over Jesse Necula in 3rd place. So a large gap. They all kind of pitted. They were within a second of each other, all 4 of them. And Cameron Combs finds himself back in 6th. And Daniel Cunningham, Steve Loving, with that undercut, still running nose to tail, kind of retained their position +2. So able to pick up a couple spots on the exchange. But Aaron Adcock still leading the way. And I'll tell you what, I'm going to go get this info so we know what happened. I'll be right back.
On fuel. I don't know.
Speeding on pit.
Well, definitely was a pit road speeding violation for the 13 machine to Garrett Kinder. Very disappointed. You can hear it in his voice as he comes down, has to serve that penalty under green, and he's going to lose 12 spots or 11 spots out of that deal. Definitely needs a caution to get this thing back in reach for him. But definitely disappointing. A lot of playoff drivers having issues in this first round of 12 race. We've got your bottom. Well, gosh, just so many folks having trouble. The bottom 4 drivers: Garrett Kinder, Justin Ray, Tracy Passon, Josh Lokovitz. Tracy Passon is not a playoff driver, so the 3 of the bottom 4 are all playoff drivers, so that's a tough deal. Got to pass for the lead, though, as Jonah has finally run down Aaron Adcock and is going to go around him and assume the lead. Aaron still has not pit for tires and fuel. So Aaron just trying to play a little strategy game here. Definitely don't think he can make it on fuel. In fact, I know he can't because all those guys who pitted under green there, they pitted where they would be good on fuel. So it looks like the fuel runs around 31, 32 laps, so they are pushing it already, so I know he cannot make it. So just hoping for a caution. He's got 7 seconds back to Jesse Necula, so he's got a little bit of time he can wait. Definitely pitted a little bit later than some of these guys. But just an impressive season that Jonah's had. 5 race wins and is looking, barring some crazy last few lap caution. If it goes green to the end, there's nobody catching him based on these lap times. Just, man, it's taken to these cars. Ever since they changed them, first start of the year, we were wide open around places like Charlotte, Las Vegas, wide open drafting, similar to the way Atlanta was in real life in the Cup Series this season. Just wide open draft pack, two wide, 3 wide at some of these tracks. It was just awful. And then they made the changes where they upped that horsepower, lowered the spoiler, and I thought the racing in real life got better, and definitely the racing on iRacing is it is a very difficult car to drive, and that's what you want. You don't want your top, this is the upper echelon of oval racing, especially stock cars, and you don't want it to be easy. You don't want it to be something that anybody can go out and do. And so I'm glad to see that change. I want it to be difficult. I want guys to be able to drive the car and it not just be a sort of a Russian roulette Daytona type situation everywhere we go. But you have to be adaptable, and Jonah's been able to adapt to this car, and has definitely shown how good he is as he gets a little bit of that apron there and gets a little bit loose. Aaron still out. Jesse Necula is closing fast. About 1.5 seconds a lap. Jesse is faster than Aaron, so he should catch him the next lap or so. But the strategy's not going to be too bad for Aaron if he gets a caution. Just here Jesse shifting. These cars have 5 sequential gears, so the gears are obviously a lot shorter between shifts with 5 gears versus 4. So you can, and with sequential shifters, you can risk shifting down and not upset the car too bad. Get a little bit better power band off the corner. With a 4 on the floor, you have a little bit of time that you lose by shifting. Sometimes it's not worth it. Sequential shifter like this, you really don't lose that much time. It's a pretty seamless shift, so you can definitely take advantage of that if you really want to, as Jesse is going to take back second place from Aaron. Gotta think Aaron's going to come down pit road at any time, but like he's committed to staying out as long as he possibly can. This little two-car tandem been running nose to tail for a while. Daniel Cunningham and Steve Loving just doing the best they can to try to run down maybe Jesse. They've got a 13-second. As soon as I say that, Daniel Cunningham goes down to the inside to take over fourth place. They will catch Aaron with no problem, but Jesse's about 4.8 seconds back, but then it's 13.1 to Jonah. They've got a long way to go if they're going to run him down. Draft is strong, but it's not that strong here. You're definitely not going to run down a single driver. Daytona, Talladega, if you're running nose to tail and one guy was out there running by himself, you can definitely run him down, but not here. Just the draft is not strong enough to get you up there. Go back up to the lead. Jesse said he's about 8 seconds back from Jonah. We'll look at the lap time history to see. Looks like they're running very similar lap times, except for on lap 62, Necula, about 2.5 tenths may have been when he made that pass on Aaron. You just see how much time. Actually, that time by gained 4 tenths. If you're Jonah, you got to be feeling pretty good. 4 tenths a lap would still find you winning this race pretty easily. Let's go check back here as we see Garrett Kinder get around Stephen McDonald. Puts himself back in the top 10. Really would love to see a caution. Garrett Kinder would. Not me, but Garrett would love to see one. He's been driving around in second place in 8 cautions at this point when he really needs one. He can't get it. So as you see the two JC Motorsports drivers going to the inside of Aaron Adcock. So move Daniel up to 3rd place and Steve up to 4th. And it's just so disappointing because last lap, Garrett Kinder, the fastest car on the track, which is frustrating to hear when you have a speeding penalty like that. So far, this back half of the race is cleaned up. Got a lot of guys just limping around the track. Phelps starting to run down Cameron Combs a little bit. Laps to go in this one. We are about to close it down. Been a wild race. A lot more cautions than I could have ever expected. Made this one a little bit longer than it should be. But we're finally getting down to the end of this one. Still about 55 seconds a lap, so still a long way to go. As far as this is about the only battle on the track, as everything is pretty much separated out. Got Cameron Combs and Chuck kind of running pretty close. These guys have been all over each other since those green flag stops. Watch here is Cameron and Chuck are going by the 23 Varenac car. So Aaron still not made his pit stop yet. Yeah, he may make it all the way. I don't know. I don't think he can. I'd be surprised, but you know, I'm not going to rule it out. I don't know exactly when he pitted, so it's hard for me to say. If he can make it all the way, that'd be really, really good. A good recovery for him after getting into it with his teammate Tracy. Eight laps to go. Jesse Necula 7.7 seconds back to Jonah. As Chuck has run down Cameron Combs again, so we'll watch this battle, see if Chuck is able to get around Cameron. On the back third of a fuel run, so those tires are definitely starting to get a little wear on them. Oh, as Cameron Combs gets into the wall. And Chuck could see blood, jumps right down to the bottom. Not able to get it just then, but that's got to be a good sign if you're the 75 machine to try to make it inside the top five. They're going to drag race down the front straightaway. Chuck going to have the inside line as they go down to the corner. Cameron going to try the crossover. We'll see if he's able to make that happen. Highline's been pretty strong off of one all night long. And Chuck makes a pass and puts himself inside the top five. Let's see if he can hang on to it. Oh, has to check up a little bit out of the tunnel turn. And that brings Cameron Combs right back. So Cameron going to dive down to the inside. Let's see if Chuck can fight him off on the outside. Cameron may get a little bit loose or have to lift here. No, he sticks it right there on the bottom. So we're drag racing down here. A great little battle here for fifth place. But Chuck with the better run off the top is going to have it by a good 2 car lengths. Cameron going to drive deep down to the corner. A whole lot easier to race and navigate these corners when you have somebody in front of you. And when you get out front, you kind of go, I'm missing my braking points now. I done passed it. I passed my braking points. It doesn't look like Cameron Combs is done just yet. He is coming back on the 75. They're actually about 3.7 seconds back from Steve Loving, so Chuck may, like Steve Loving had some sort of issue and dropped back from Daniel Cunningham. They were, he was about a second slower that last lap, so something happened. May had to get out of the gas, got into the wall. Car looks good, so May had to jump out of it, and he lost a lot of time. So Chuck can smell blood a little bit. Just see the draft and the advantage that it has is Cameron able to keep up with Chuck. Chuck's running down a couple times, and then as he gets out front, Cameron using that draft to stay with him. Definitely tell that damage is hurting Cameron a little bit down the straightaways. I would imagine if it didn't have that damage, he'd probably be able to pass Chuck back with little to no issue. Adcock finally does come down pit road, gets his 4 tires and fuel, and he'll rejoin the field. Actually go a lap down. Jonah just went through turn 1. We'll keep our eyes here on this battle. This is the best, one of the best battles. We also have Steve McDonald and Garrett Kinder running nose to tail, but this has been a pretty dang good battle as they are still reeling in Steve Loving. Go right here and we'll check these laps. Is Steve Loving kind of falling off a little bit. The last 3 laps, half a second every lap that Chuck is making up. So keep that up, he can get close. I don't think he'll be able to catch him even at half a second a lap, but he'll get pretty close to him. Just one slip up from Steve, and Chuck will get that 4th place. Like maybe Chuck slipped up just a little bit because Cameron's all over him now. Looking down to the inside into turn 1. All over the back bumper of the 75. Cameron not done. '75 almost gets into the wall there. Oh, that's a check up, so Cameron Combs gets a huge run through the tunnel turn. Looks down to the inside of Chuck. Cameron Combs wants that 5th place. Chuck battles hard off the top side. Going to get a nice run down the straightaway. Look how big of a run he got. So he's able to hang on to it. White flag is out, though, for Jonah Colbert as he is coming down into the tunnel turn now. 8.2 second lead. All he has to do is he can shift her down in 4th and just coast around at this point. But a dominating performance yet again for Jonah as he comes down through turn 3. And checker flag is out. Jonah Colbert will win and transfer to the round of 8 as he wins at Pocono Raceway. Jesse Nekula finishes second. Daniel Cunningham coming off turn 3 now. He's going to take home third place. Steve Loving able to hold off Chuck Pegleg Phelps as Steve, Chuck, Cameron finish 4th, 5th, and 6th. And Eric Burkhalter going to, by attrition, finish 7th. It's a really good finish. Disappointing finish here for Garrett Kinder. Obviously going to be the P&J Hardluck Award. Extremely fast all night long. Gets a speeding penalty on that green flag pit stop, and that did him in. So disappointing there. Steve McDonald finishes 9th. Aaron Adcock with a 10th place finish. Greg Cronin finishes 11th. Jake Cunningham going to come home in 12th place. Tracy Passons in 13th. Justin Ray 14th. Jonathan Cofield 15th. And Josh Lokovitz 16th. And you can look at it for yourself. There's your top finishers. 9 cars finished on the lead lap. Just a dominating performance. So let's go ahead and jump in here and talk to these fellas as we go ahead and bring in Daniel Cunningham. Hey, Daniel, let's say it in the booth. You got me?
Yeah, I got you.
Well, I don't know. Was that a fun race? I want to know from your perspective. It was hard to see. It looked like it was a grueling caution fest for a while, and there at the end you had a green flag run. Talk to me about your race. I mean, how'd it go for you?
Well, there's 2 words that don't go in the same sentence together, and that's Pocono and fun. So Jake's behind me telling me Pocono is fun. He's the only one I know that likes this place. Um, no, I'm not a big fan of this track. I usually run terrible here. If somebody would have told me I was going to finish in 3rd last week, I'd definitely take that and move on. I picked my least favorite of my rowdy energy schemes that I have to run here. Just, seemed fitting for the track. So, yeah, it was interesting with all the cautions. I'm glad we got to run it out to the end, but yeah, it's an interesting track. We'll just leave it at that.
Well, I mean, to finish 3rd, I mean that solidly puts you in the top 8. It's going to be really difficult for you to fall out after this race. You're not guaranteed, but with the way the field sizes have been going into Atlanta, you got to feel pretty good going into the moving on to the round of 8. And a 3rd place finish definitely helps you with that. I mean, are you thinking about the championship at all? I mean, what are your thoughts as we start to cut the fields down, the playoff field down at least more and more each week?
Yeah, it's definitely always in the back of my mind, especially with the way that the points work in this series, how they carry over round to round instead of going back to a total reset after each round. So that's definitely, especially having the win the first round and getting off to a good start with that. And looking at the points, I wasn't really, to be honest, when I looked at the points before this race, I didn't really look at the cutoff to 8th. I was more so looking at the cutoff to 5th with thinking about the round of 4. So yeah, definitely something in the back of my mind and just trying to string together some good finishes here.
Well, all right. Well, congratulations on a 3rd place finish. Definitely hard fought. And going into Atlanta, you're sitting pretty moving on to the next round. Who you got to thank? Any sponsor shout outs?
Yeah, appreciate you putting on the broadcast as always. Thanks to everybody that helps put on the league, and all of our sponsors that help everything out. Definitely appreciate all of them. Thanks to Rowdy Energy as always, and yeah, just glad to be moving on to a regular oval next week.
There you go. Well, you heard it there. Pocono, no fun from Daniel Cunningham. Well, Jesse Nekula is not feeling well, so we won't bring him up in the booth. But congratulations to Jesse for having a great finish in 2nd place. Just a dang fine race from him. Solid all the way through the race. And he comes home with a good 2nd place finish. But we'll go ahead and bring the winner in here, Jonah Colbert. Hey, Jonah, this is Eddie in the booth. You got me?
Hey, what's going on?
What's up, man? Well, I don't know. I think the competition's probably tired of hearing this, but man, you just dominated tonight. Not even close. You had a little bit of time there in the middle of the race where 4 of you were kind of running as sort of a draft pack, but a couple drivers I think had the speed to race with you. Cameron Combs and Garrett Kinder, both those guys with mistakes. I mean, how important? Tell the listeners how important it is to be smooth, perfect at a track like this. That momentum is everything.
A lot. The straightaways are like 10 miles long, so any mistake is compounded for like it seems like forever. Like if you miss a turn, you're just kicking yourself for it seems like 20 minutes before you can finally make it back up. But yeah, shout out to the guy running the radar gun tonight because he popped Kinder for speed, and then he was definitely fast enough to beat me. So
Yeah. I mean, just something about this car, and you have figured out. I talked about it on the broadcast, but being able to adapt to it pretty quickly. But man, it's impressive to see just how strong you are everywhere. I wouldn't say Pocono is a bad track for you, but when I see Pocono, I don't think immediately think that you're gonna just dominate the field by 8 seconds. But that's what happened tonight. And it just seems like this car and you, man, y'all are made for each other. You should get married. I don't know if you got a, we'll get a priest or something. We'll have a ceremony, and y'all are just made for each other. So,
yeah,
pretty dang
it
good race.
seems tonight it just seemed like if you broke that half second mark, you could really get out and pull away from people. But if they were within a half second of you, they would just suck up to your bumper. So I think that was just kind of what happened there. Is when Kendrick was on my back bumper, I couldn't get away from him. But on those restarts, it seemed like if I could get a good jump, and then I would pull away. But that's how these cars are with all that downforce. So
Well, 6 wins on the season, man, and you lock yourself into the round of 8. I mean, obviously the favorite to win this championship. I mean, does that add any pressure to you, knowing that how good you've been all season long, and knowing that you really can't make a mistake, going down to the stretch here?
yeah, I mean a little bit. It's just about one race at a time. I know kind of like that coach speak that nobody likes to hear, but I mean the races are really long and it's really easy to make a mistake. You overdrive one corner, or if you overcorrect the car when you get loose, anything like that. I've just developed the mentality of just finish and not. If I make a mistake, I tend to just eat it. I'd rather lose a second than lose the race. I mean, it's just the way this car is. You gotta swallow your pride, and anytime this car gets sideways, just roll with it. Just let it get loose, and don't try to save it. Even when you try to play hero, that seems to be when mistakes get compounded and it gets worse. So hopefully we can keep it clean for the rest of the way. So
Well, all right, man. Well, congratulations on win number 6 on the season. Who you got the shout out sponsors?
shout out to JC Motorsports, Daniel Diddy Shoot Cunningham, his cousin Jake Cunningham was in there with us tonight. He ran himself a pretty good race. Kind of proud of him. He seems to pick up this new car as well. So shout out to Steve Loving, Garrett Kinder, and of course our glorious leader Seth Griffith for putting the series together. And as always, thank you for broadcasting this on Rebels Racing Network. It's always a blast to go back and watch these.
Well, this will be a long one, so you better get your popcorn, get you a cup of coffee or something when you go back and
I
watch
need,
this one. So,
I need
uh,
some whiskey.
yeah, yeah. Well, man, great race, good win, and definitely expecting to be talking to you every week as we go forward, and definitely see you as the championship favorite. So we'll see how it all plays out. So congratulations on win number 6, man. We'll see you next week at Atlanta.
All right, thank you.
All right, bye. Well, there you have it. A long race, a lot of cautions, but there at the end had a nice green flag run. And man, Jonah really separated himself from the rest of the field. But the point standings have been updated, so we'll show you what they got. As you'll see them refresh here just in a second. And Jonah with a substantial lead over Daniel Cunningham there in second. Garrett Kinder, even though he had a tough night, the fields being as small as they are, mistakes aren't really killers, especially when you're in a points position that he is. But it does make it tough if you're if you're Aaron Adcock. Um, you don't want to get in a position where you do that next week. So a little bit of ground to make up, but should be fine. Brandon Wallace wasn't here tonight, so he's able to make up that little space. But Steve McDonald is that 8th place. That's where the cutoff is after next week. So we'll be watching that pretty close. But anyway, I'm going to get out of here. Sorry about the trouble tonight. Not really sure what happened. Computer just freaked out, but that's going to happen from time to time. So y'all have a good night, and thank you for watching Intensity. Check out their merch store. Check out some stuff they have. You like Intensity, if you're an Intensity fan, definitely reach out to them. It definitely helps support them and what they do. So, all right, y'all. Y'all have a good night. We'll see you next week.